Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dancers That Shoot. My name is Brandon, and you are here at your number one stop for content creators and Latin dancers. And today I have a very, very, very special guest with me. She has been performing all over the Congress circuit. You've probably seen a lot of her routines with her company, MG Elites. I am super, super happy to have her out today, Miss Lyliana Beltran. Thank you again for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It means a lot.
And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm going to get that sorted out later. So, yeah. But yeah, so basically what I do with this channel is I do a little bit of content creation for new photographers, new videographers, new filmmakers, but also since I'm so ingrained in the Latin dance community as well, I figured I'd bring both my loves together. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring you on, is because obviously you are somebody that is well known and ingrained into the dance community, but you also have been doing a little bit of content as well. So I figured it might be a good idea to bring you on and see what you've been up to during the whole apocalypse thing that's been going on. So,
Yeah.
but let's start first off with telling us a little bit about yourself, because again, there is a whole half of the audience of this channel that may not know who you are. So if you can give the audience a little bit of an idea of who you are and what you do.
Yes, so my name is Lyliana Beltran. I am 21 years old. I have been dancing since the age of 3, so now it's 18 years dancing. I started with different types of styles, mostly with Latin. So literally not even salsa. Like I literally started with like bachata, merengue, punta, afro, different stuff. And then I got into salsa as a kid. And then my team and I, my mom, who is my director as well, her and her husband decided to make our own team, and that's where MG came from. And from there, we decided we wanted to be dancers, not just salseros and bachateros. So she decided to bring in teachers of like hip hop and jazz and contemporary and like Tahitian and a bunch of crazy styles that are very uncomfortable for us. And we continue to train and find teachers that were amazing and inspiring. And yeah, the team just kind of kept growing, and we kept training and again in different styles, and that's how MG came about. And that's pretty much my whole life. MG is definitely my life. And outside of dance, I'm in college. I'm majoring in graphic design, and yeah, that's pretty much about me. Yeah, my mom's here too. She's on the side.
Nice.
So,
Hi, Mom. How are you?
I like the camera.
Like, who is that? Okay. Yeah. So, one thing I definitely want to talk to you about the graphic design later after the recording. So we definitely need to chat about that if you have time. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely talk about that, right? But yeah, I'm going to get my David Letterman on because I have terrible memory. You give me choreography, I'm great with remembering that, but everything else might come memory. So
Same.
I have my notes written down. So let's see. First and foremost, the one thing that I definitely wanted to go into first was that I remember I first found out about you and MG Elise, I think about maybe 2 or 3 years ago. One of my friends actually sent me a video of this tango routine that you did with your brother David, and I'm watching this routine and I'm just like, what? I mean, it was because the whole thing was like I had known previously that you were a salsa dancer because somebody told me that you danced salsa, but I'm watching this routine and you look like a seasoned tango dancer. It was fantastic. So first and foremost, before we even get started into everything else, tell me a little bit about that routine, because I don't know about how the previous routines work for you, but as far as that specific routine, I think that one's probably one of the ones, if not the one, that's garnered you guys the most attention. So how did that routine come about?
So that routine is actually a very personal routine. It was very personal for my brother and I. And my grandpa, my mom was a single parent raising me. So my grandpa was like my father figure. Okay. And then for my brother as well, he was our dad. He was our everything. He was like the pillar of our house, of our home, household, home house, whatever. So household. That's the word. So yeah, he was a pillar, and unfortunately, my grandpa passed away in 2009. So before that, my brother and I used to like go outside and start. We would see my mom and my stepdad just dancing and dancing and dancing. We grew up watching that, so we would go in the back and like put on our little shows, and then we would start like just dancing and doing different stuff. And then one of the dances that my grandpa loved was tango. His first love, or his first love she was from Argentina. So he fell in love with the whole culture of Argentina, tango especially. So he really wanted us to dive into tango. But that was when we were still in our old company. So then my mom and her husband just started, we found our tango teachers that are still our tango teachers to this day, which is really awesome. And they started taking classes, and my brother and I would just sit down and watch, and we would kind of get up and start dancing on our own. So then for my grandpa's birthday, the same year that he passed away, a few months before that he passed, we decided, my brother and I, like, we want to do a tango routine for him. So my mom like helped us, and we did a little choreo, like, and we performed for him and everything. Here in our house, we just performed. And then a few months later, he passed away. So the same song that we performed for him for his birthday is actually the same song that my brother and I did in that video, which is La Comparsita. So it was very special. So when we found our tango teachers again and we kept training, we were like, that's a choreo that we want to like redeem ourselves kind of thing, but we also want to dedicate it to my grandpa. And yeah, so every time we perform that routine, like it was super special and emotional a lot of times. And yeah, and that's where the routine comes from. So yeah, it's pretty
And you
cool.
can tell, just from the faces and the emotions that you guys are invoking, when you were performing that routine, just how much that meant to you guys, even without you telling me,
Yeah.
what exactly it meant. You can tell just from when you guys are performing this routine what it means to you guys, when you were on stage performing this. So that kudos to you. I mean, wow. you know, I feel as though that, when you have routines like that where it actually has a personal message or personal connection to you, that it makes the routine that much better. It makes your connection with the routine better, and it connects with your audience better as well. So I definitely got that feeling from
That's
the
awesome.
routine,
That's
watching
the
it over and over. When I would literally show it to friends of mine that are dancers. I would show it to my students, and I'm like, look, this is how you emote when you're on stage. This is what you're supposed to do, right? So again, fantastic routine, absolutely fantastic routine.
thing.
Obviously that it set things off for you guys very much. So
Thank
congratulations for that. So another thing that I want to talk to you about that I feel as though is kind of your hallmark is that when I see you posting on Facebook and Instagram and posting your different content, one thing that always stood out to me about you was the fact that you always seem so positive and so optimistic about things. And I feel as though that when it comes to the Latin dance community, a lot of times we let personal drama and our personal issues between each other kind of get in the way of things and kind of get in the way of progression, right? And I've never ever noticed that from you. Like, what would you say? Like, where do you draw that constant optimism from? 'Cause I think a lot of people could really benefit from having that kind of mentality. So how do you keep that positivity in your life?
For me personally, I am a believer of God, and honestly, that is where any light that I have in my life, that is where I draw it from, just from Him. I grew up with, again, my grandpa, who is, I think it all just kind of started. It's like from
Oh,
that.
okay.
As a kid, you grow up with a man who is like a strong believer of God and faithful, and he's fearing God, and he's just everything that he was and represented, was like what a believer is to me. And so when he passed, like, I had to find my own way of connecting with God, and I feel like when I learned how to connect with God, it also brought me closer to my grandpa as well. But on the journey of just finding God and connecting with him, I also realized like I could still be hopeful when times are tough because, you know, like, it's just, I don't know, like, that's where my faith comes from. And that's where I don't know, I feel like anything, whenever I feel down, like I talk to God, or like I'll read the Bible, and he makes me feel hopeful and like, and happy. He does something to my life. And I was at a point where like I kind of was down for a bit, and then I used dance. I feel like God gave me dance as well, as a talent, as a gift, so that I can treasure and use. But I just feel like it all comes from him. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give back to him. But then I'm going to get, it's just, yeah, he's the source of, I think, any and all positivity I have. Because without him, I'm like, I'm a mess.
It's like, I'm done. I
Yeah.
totally get it. Totally get it.
Yeah, so it's not like spiritual or anything, but yeah, that's honest. That's the only answer I could give, really. It's all from God. Yeah, definitely.
No, and honestly, that's an awesome answer, because you know, some people, they don't really, I don't want to say they don't have any kind of like spirituality that they follow or anything like that, but I think, having that spirituality in your life and really being dedicated to it really definitely helps with everything else as far as dance is concerned, as far as life is concerned, Um, we all can really use more of that, honestly, myself included, but we'll go into that. But yeah, so yeah, you've obviously been dancing for a very long time. As far as I can tell, it seems like you've been dancing pretty much since your youth. So from what I can tell, you've pretty much been dancing for your whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had that. I've only been dancing in the last like 10 years. So, I see people that, have been dancing since they were like yay high. And I'm just like, I just started at that. Like,
You're good.
different, but that's cool. So what would you say, as far as like your routines, right? So with a lot of routines that I see from MG Elites and your own personal routines, it seems that you draw from a lot of different influences. Um, what would you say are the dance styles that you guys tend to pull from, or the influences that you guys pull
There's a lot, but most of them would, again, a lot of it comes from the technical types of dances. So again, like we trained in a lot of like the jazz and like contemporary and ballet, and different trainings that I feel like in salsa is more like street, right? And it's more like but like through those technical sides, we were able to kind of find a balance to make it like more graceful, or like more lines and stuff like that. So a lot of the technical stuff, we also train in like the hip hop stuff. We're taking house classes, flamenco. We do a lot of flamenco stuff. We do some folklorico, not like the feet stuff, but our teachers do folklorico, so they'll add like a bunch of that essence to what we learn. What other styles? There's like
so many.
a lot. The tango stuff. Literally, it's just kind of like everything that we train in. That's why we do a lot of like salsa fusions. And we can't really give it like an exact name of what it is. It's just like salsa fusion or bachata fusion or something, because we like to incorporate all of those styles. But I would say mostly those, like the hip hops, the technicals, the flamencos, the tangos. It's a lot. Afro. There's a lot, but those, if I would name a few, those are a few. Yeah.
Okay. So walk me through like a typical week of training at MG, because that's a lot as far as like different styles to pull from. So like where do you even find the time to like get all these influences and incorporate that into what you do? I mean, did you break it down day, or how does that even work?
So we pretty much live at the studio. No, but I guess pre-quarantine, a typical MG week would be, we only practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, because Monday, Thursdays, I have another rehearsal with like a hip hop team that I'm in. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. So we would do 7 p.m. to maybe like 8:30. This is usually like every day, 7 p.m. to 8:30. It would be like a hip hop class. And then like 8:30 to like about 9:30, 10 would be another style of class, maybe like a house or a technical class. And then from about 10 to like 11:30, it would be another style, or it would be like an MG rehearsal. And then basically after that, we would rehearse the MG routines afterwards. So so we would probably be out of the studio around 12:30 every day. So it's like 7 to 12:30. And yeah, and it's literally we start we start with like about 3 classes of training, different styles each day, and then after that we'll have our actual rehearsal after that. So it's kind of it's a lot, but it's fun.
It's crazy because like by the time you get to actual like rehearsal, I know you guys have got to be like, okay, I need some coffee or a Powerade or something, right? Like,
Snacks like in
once
the
you get to
back.
that point, it's like, okay, I'm dead. You know?
Yeah, we're constantly eating and snacking and trying to find energy just from everything. But we're on the go. So when you keep going, like you kind of distract. So that's why like sometimes we have like a little office area where we all hang out. So my mom will be like, no, like let's go, because once you sit down, like you lose it. So she's like, let's go, drag us into the other room so that we can keep. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hilarious. Like halfway through the night, you're like trying to hide from your mom. It's like this. The snacks.
Maybe one of the times one of the boys, like he went into the restroom to hide, and we were like, where is he at? And then he was in the restroom just like hiding, and it was just so funny.
Oh my god. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can't argue, you know, with the results. I mean, obviously, it's paid off in spades. So that's I need to start getting my training regimen like that. So
Yeah, that's why it's hard, because people are like, oh, we want to train with you guys, or we want to be in the elite team, and we're like, all right, let's see if you can handle a week. Let's see, because like we're so dedicated to the dance and the art of it, and that's why we don't really have a lot of time to like go social dance. People are always like, why don't you guys go social dancing and da-da-da. It's because like we're training like so we can give you good shows and just show you what we're doing, like. So yeah, it's a lot.
so that actually brings up a good point. So now I'm of the mindset that, you know, even as a performer, you know, because most of what we do is a social dance, I do you know, still feel strongly about, you know, social dancing, right? So do you think that, you know, not being able to social dance as much as you'd like to has maybe not held you back, but held you back? I guess that's the best way I can put it. Like do you feel as though that you know, you not being able to social dance maybe is a kind of a deterrent to where you'd like to be, or is it, you know, or does the just massive amounts of training make up for it?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think so, because it's because we don't. So just because we don't social dance like here in LA, when we travel, like thank God we've had the opportunities to travel like kind of consistently. There was like some points we have like our little stages, but when we do, that's when I'm like dancing my heart out, because I do love social dancing like so much. But here in LA, the scene is a little different. So I like the atmosphere and the vibe from out of state places. So like Chicago, even Scotland, we've gone to, and Texas, New York. Like when we go to those congresses, that's where I'm social dancing, and I feel like it's kind of worth it because we're putting in all the hard work here. So that way, when we go in that place, we get to relax, we get to dance, we get to perform and teach. And that's fun for me. So I'm working hard here. So that way, when I go out of state, I can give my best and also enjoy it at the same time.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So you do actually get to, you know, enjoy the fruits of your labor and social dancing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right.
I do a lot of it. I forget to drink water sometimes. My mom's always yelling at me. Like,
Yeah, you have to stay hydrated. You should know.
I know, it's so hard because I get distracted.
I get it. So I think, you know, all of us, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a dancer, or if you're involved in any kind of creative art, right? We always have our inspirations, both past and present, right? So who would you say are your current inspirations for what you're doing currently?
That's hard. I think my mom is not just because she's here, but my mom is definitely one of my biggest inspirations. Just because I've seen her hard work and her passion and her being able to balance dance and work and life in general. So that's overall, she's one of my biggest inspirations, especially with dance too, because I grew up seeing her she was like my model. So I was like, oh, I want to be like that when I'm older. You know, so just having her as my teacher and my director as well has been a gift from God as well. So I'm grateful for that. If I had to name a few people, I would say a few dancers in the scene. I know Kimberly Rivera, she's a huge inspiration. Caitlin Rodriguez, Tamara Livolsi, she's amazing. And I'm trying to think of a few others. Kind of hard, but I feel like my inspirations come from like the people that are diverse and open-minded and are true to themselves, not trying to like be anybody else. Like, you get me? Like
Yeah.
that's Caitlin, that's Kimberly. Like those are the people that like I'm like, yo, like I want to be like that. Shani Dalmor as well. She's amazing. So it's like different people that like that I'm like, I love you. You're so amazing.
I wouldn't be that.
So they inspire me to keep up the same thing, be myself, and keep staying diverse and stay true to everything I believe in. And yeah, those are a few.
That's a nice little pool of talents to pull inspiration from. So yeah, definitely. That's okay, good answer for that.
Thank you.
So let's go back one step because we started talking about COVID, right? And as much, don't get me wrong, I hate talking about COVID. I'm at a point now where just the mention of this virus is it's kind of depressing, right? And I think that's pretty much all of us as far as the salsa scene is concerned. Um, Now, what we have seen as far as the pandemic, we've seen people actually use this as a jumping off point to actually really um, leapfrog their career as far as their brand and building an audience and building a following. Whereas you have some people that when this pandemic started, it kind of not took away from their following in their business, but it definitely caused them to take a hit as far as what they were able to do, right? So you have like those two trains of thought where either the pandemic was a help or a hindrance. Do you think that COVID has helped you to become even more focused, or has it like really started to get in the way of what you want to do professionally?
Honestly, both. Um, I feel like when it first happened and it first started, like this year, we had so much planned and like we were ready, go, go, go. And even like with my hip hop team, like we were literally about to compete in a competition that I got the opportunity to help choreograph for. And so, and that was like a week right after the whole shutdown happened. So a bunch of like everything, like it just all happened. And so I was very like, wait a second, like, it's kind of like mind blowing. Yeah. And obviously it being for so long, I feel like in the beginning you're like, it's kind of not exciting, but it's like, oh, something new, like virtual.
Yeah, this is different.
Oh, but then it kind of keeps happening and you're like, oh, okay, we're still doing this. All right, we're still doing this. Like, so I feel like I'm kind of doing this right now. I have my moments. I feel like with dancing, um, it's kind of giving me an opportunity to also take more classes and train in more styles. So it's been good in that aspect. I've been able to focus more on school. I've been able to the team has been able to hire teachers that can teach us, like that are out of, because a bunch of teachers that we love are out of state, so we always have to fly them in. So now we're like, oh cool, virtual. Like it's been like there's some blessings there, and then there's also those moments where I just want to lay in bed and I just want to eat ice cream. So it's a fine balance, I think, between both. Sometimes I have to like watch dance videos and like even old performances to kind of inspire me again. Hopefully one day I'll get to do that again, like
Yeah,
so.
exactly, right. I mean, we're hoping for 2021, sometime, some point in 2021. But again, back when February, March, when this was first starting, and everybody was like, all right, well, it's probably like this for a month, maybe 2 months, and here we are, almost half a year later, still trying to figure out when everything is going to go back to some sense of normalcy, right? I mean, it is really crazy because it's turned the entire world on its head. And when it comes to the dance community thrives off of that personal connection, that actual tangible touch, right?
Yeah.
And I really do feel as though that a lot of people may even be suffering, not even just financially, but from an emotional and mental standpoint. Uh,
Yeah.
Before I did this interview with you, I was actually talking with Diamond Rivera, who's another creator and dancer. He's got his own channel, and
Yeah.
we started touching on things as far as COVID is concerned. And one of the big things was a lot of people have dance as this is their sanctuary, right? And without that sanctuary, like there's going to be people out there that are really suffering, uh, probably more so than they would actually let on. So that's why I personally hope that things hopefully will start creeping back to some sort of normalcy, because if you're a dancer, I mean, if you're a dancer, you understand, like, you need this, like, you really do need this. Some of us more so than others. So yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from as far as being affected both positively and negatively from everything that's going on. So
Mhm.
hopefully, things are gonna come around, and we're going to start having maybe conferences, maybe like small socials, and start building back up to conferences and traveling to the dance crews and all that stuff. So hopefully that's going to come back. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Hands crossed,
Hard
so
also
yeah.
because like dancing and our lifestyle and the socials and all that, I feel like that's like the very last stage possible, because we're interactive with so many people, and there's like thousands of people at a congress, like, so it's hard to be like, we're gonna be the last stage and everything. It's kind of crazy.
We'll see what happens. We gotta keep positive, like you. Like, I mean, you are a pro at that. If anything else, you are definitely a pro at that. So you all need to take a page out of your book. Yeah. So again, this channel is not only about dance but also content as well. And I do I do see that you are pretty active on Instagram. Do you think that? Well, a couple questions. So with COVID going on right now, have you had more time to actually create more content to build up your brand, which I'm pretty sure you have. But have you been able to give more effort towards creating content? And if you have, how has that helped both your brand as well as MG Elite's brand as well?
Surprisingly, I'm just as busy now as I was before COVID happened. Because I am in school. Um, Now, like, I have more time to do more classes, so I'm actually full time. So I'm kind of stressed a lot of the times. So it's kind of crazy to be like, I'm still just as like stressed as I was before COVID. So honestly, like, if I ever make a dance video or something, it's just because I'm like, I need a break. So I'm like, let me just put this down and let me go in there and just kind of dance and freestyle, or like, let me film a class that I just did. And that's honestly just what I do. And I just post when I'm like bored, and I'll just, again, like, I have time, boom, go. And then, okay, I'll just post it, boom. And that's it. And yeah, that's pretty much, I'm not really surprised. Like, I'm not big on social media, like, oh, like, I need this many follows or da da da. Like, I'm not really like, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, then that's fine too. Like, I just share what I love to do, and I hope that I can inspire or motivate people. And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. And I'm assuming that you're just using your phone to create whatever content that you do make time to create.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, here we go. And I just record.
Yeah, put it on the tripod. Let's go.
Yeah, literally.
But what's so crazy about it is, like, you're telling me that you'll be in the middle of schoolwork or something along those lines, and then you just like put that aside, go and just create something off the rip, and people that are watching it, we're seeing like these beautiful tangled lines, and this is awesome. But shout out to Fork, and it's just like she's just doing this. So, but that's awesome because like you know even it may not seem that it may not seem like that difficult to you, or it may not seem like it's that big of a deal, right? But having that capability is definitely inspiring to a lot of people, and I think that a lot of us, included, we put so much emphasis on being perfect all the time, especially when it comes to our online persona and the different content that we put online and whatnot, that we forget about the actual substance of it, right? Uh, I definitely have a problem where I am a hardcore perfectionist. So, like, I will hesitate on putting anything out until I know that it's like actually perfect and it'll get the results that I want. But a lot of times, doing so, whether you're a dancer, whether you're a content creator, whether you're a business owner, or whatever, you holding yourself back because of that perfectionism is going to hold you back in general from what you want to accomplish. So the fact that you're able to just like throw whatever out there, without even using, crazy amounts of equipment, it's just like a lot of us can take another page from that, especially me. um, at the end of the day, done is better than perfect. Like they say.
Yeah.
Always.
I honestly am a perfectionist also, but like I used to be really bad before, where I was like, no, like I couldn't even watch myself, or just in general, like even like years ago, like in the class they'd be like, okay, film yourself, and I'd watch and I'd be like, I hate it. Like no, like I used to be very hard on myself, but then I feel like life teaches you like, hey, you love to dance, you love what you're doing, then do it for fun. Like why are you stressing out? Don't You're doing it for yourself and to bring joy to other people. So it's like I feel like I'm trying to work on that mentality, because I'm still perfectionist at times, and I have to be like, mom, like help me, because like I need your help. So she has to like help me mentally and also be like my director and be like, okay, relax, you can work on that, but like relax, you're doing good. So literally, like, and then also now just in general, that like again, that my brother is not here anymore, like I have to remember the passion and the love for dance and why I'm doing it, not just to like please people, but to make myself feel good and to inspire people more than anything. So it helps stay motivated also.
And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Just going out there and putting what we love out there for the world to be, receptive, or even sometimes they may not be as, receptive as we'd like them to be. But at the end of the
Already.
I mean, that probably doesn't happen much with you, but like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you're doing something that 90% of the people in the world, probably 90% of the people in the audience can't do, right? Or don't have the tenacity to do, right? So, definitely, you really have to like keep that in mind. I think we all need to like really keep that in mind. We can't let that be a deterrent force in our lives. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, definitely.
Um, so going back to the whole content thing, right? So I know that you were saying that you kind of don't have as much time as you like to devote to that. But um, do you have anything that you're thinking of doing creatively as far as content is concerned, especially with again COVID? Like it is opening up a lot of opportunities for people to do things differently than they may have done in the past. So are there any type of projects that you might be working on as far as content is concerned that you want to speak on, or is there something that you may want to do as far as content is concerned?
As of now, not really. I think now I'm kind of using this time to kind of find strength again as a dancer, as a person. So I'm kind of like, okay, like I want to, like if I have time, I want to use that time to take a class that I'm not comfortable with, or like if I have like 2 hours free, then I rather use those 2 hours to train and build myself, work on myself, instead of like filming myself more than anything. Because sometimes I'll do that for fun, but then I also want to keep like I don't want to settle and get comfortable. I don't know if that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
want to like using that time that I have to train, but One of our friends is a videographer. His name is Robert, and he's amazing and everything. So sometimes he'll come over and he's like, "Hey, I just want to shoot you." And I'm like, "All right, let's find that. Like, let's go do it. Let's just go in the back. I'll just put a song and you can record me, whatever." So like stuff like that is fun. I know he's been wanting to do some projects, so maybe with him. But besides that, like, I'd rather just keep working and training, and maybe in the future, then when I have more time or when I finish the semester for school, I can do more videos and stuff. Possibly, that'd be awesome.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, going into school really quick. Now you're in LA, is that correct?
Yes.
So how's the school situation in LA? Because as it stands right now in Philly, uh, around these parts, they started doing in-person classes, and then you know started having outbreaks at a lot of the local colleges, so they just went full online. Is that the same thing over in LA, or are they doing like hybrid classes, or is everybody in person? Like how's things going out there?
I believe it's all online, or they're calling it distant learning. I believe, just basically on. Yeah, it's pretty much online. I have some art classes, and those are online too. So literally, like, it's all through Zoom, and the teacher's like, "Okay, like, do it this way," and kind of like that. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I think some classes might be. I think the school sent some emails that some might be in person, but like limited. I don't trust that, so I'm like, I'd rather stay online. But I think mostly everything is online right now. Yeah,
Okay.
I think the kids are some kids in districts are going back to school for the kids, so that's a little scary. But
Yeah. Yeah, my little brother, he is he's in his first year of high school, which is really making me feel old as hell at the moment. But they're doing a hybrid, so they're doing I think 2 days in person and then 3 days during the week, all distance learning. And it does make me nervous just because I know they're doing everything that they can at the actual schools to
yeah,
make sure that when the kids do come, that everything is disinfected and ready to go. But with everything going on with this pandemic, it still is worrisome knowing that this ominous thing is still out there, and we're putting our siblings and our children at risk of this. So
yeah, definitely. No, I feel you. It's like, it's hard.
yeah, I mean, at this point, we got to do what we got to do, right? So
I think it's kind of like you said, like it's hard because we want to find the balance of kind of making this normal, but then it's like it's not normal, but we have
right.
to like it's like how do we find that
Do that.
challenge? Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so aside from content, so we know that you're primarily concentrating on training in school, but training when you can, right? Um, what is a project that you would like to do creatively as far as dance that you haven't had a chance to do yet, but you would like to
I think I know my mom and I had talked about doing maybe kind of like a not a concept video, but just kind of like a routine, like an MG kind of production kind of thing where we have like just the whole company and maybe do a routine and just have everyone film and make it into like a nice video and stuff like that. That'd be really nice to do just with the team, just to kind of showcase like, hey, we're still going
do? Here.
because it's hard. We haven't even seen the team since literally March.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been all through Zoom, but it's been tough. But yeah, so that'd be good to kind of motivate the team as well. And then for me personally, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure. Maybe. Oh yeah, I know. Like maybe some collabs with some of my friends. We talked about maybe. I don't know if I should say it or not, but I'm not gonna say it.
So
But
if they're watching, if they're watching, she's
maybe some
waiting for you
collabs.
guys.
So I won't say it in case it's a surprise. But yeah, maybe some collabs here and there, just little videos, the best that we can. But yeah, something like that.
Cool. All right, cool. So, tell me a little bit more about some of MG's other routines. I've seen a lot of the other ones, and I mean, you guys again, like it's crazy how many different styles that you guys pull from. Um, what have been some of your favorite routines, and what was the inspiration for
Oh, that's so hard. There's so here's the thing. So what we take to congresses is probably not even half of the routines that we really have, because every year we have our recital. So in our recital, we do about 16 routines, just the elites. And then yeah, and then the whole student teams, and they can perform. So like we have every year we're adding about 16. Like so we have. I remember my brother and I tried to count maybe like 3 years ago. We tried to count how many routines we had like from the jump start, and it was about like 300 something, and that was at that time. So it was we were like, oh shoot, like so it's kind of hard because there's so many. Okay, but if I had to choose, Stairway to Heaven has definitely been one of mine and my brother's favorites. It's the white one, salsa fusion kind of
Yeah.
starts like yeah, like that. That one also was dedicated to my grandpa, so that one was very special. Stairway to Heaven. I like a bunch of our Llorona routines. There's like 3 parts. We have 3 different routines dedicated to La Llorona and 3 different types of vibes. So I love all 3 of those. And yeah, our hip hops are fun because they're so hard to choose. I really, salsa. I really like Dilemma, the one my brother and I did, which is like the navy
Oh
blue costume.
yeah, I was going with blue
That's
costumes, right?
yeah, it was bluish navy blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the ones that come to my head right now. But there's like so many. Like I would have to choose like specifically in each year which one's my favorite. But
So
yeah.
it has to go through the catalog, the Rolodex. Like, damn.
Yeah. But those are some to name to name a
Okay.
few.
You know, and what's really cool, speaking of the Dilemma routine, because
Yes.
the whole thing, now, first off, I love that song, right? I love a whole bunch of Johnny Ventura's music.
Yeah.
But the cool thing with that song is that you wouldn't really think of it as a performance routine, right? Because, you know, it starts off really slow and
Yeah.
then, it gets faster. It's not like a frenetic speed or anything like that. But, it's got a very unique construction, right? But you don't automatically think of it as a song to perform to when you first hear it. And I saw you guys perform to it, and I was like, holy shit, they really did this. One of my favorite songs. Like, that's dope. Like, you guys did a really great job with that, honestly.
Those are my mom's amazing editing skills. That I think we were at a show in Texas, and we heard the song, and the 3 of us, it was me, my mom, and my brother. We kind of looked at each other, and we were like,
You're like, that's it. That's the
and we were
one.
just, and we like to do that in general with a lot of our bachatas too, especially the ones that we've competed with at World Cup. If you listen to the original song, it sounds like nothing like the one that like my mom edited. So it's kind of crazy. Like, so we like to listen to those, what's the word? Like the doubtful songs, or just the songs that people just don't think of, like you said.
Yeah.
Kind of like, let's see what my amazing mother comes up with, and then she's just like,
Then she goes and just flips it, and it's like, oh, that was perfect. Yeah.
yeah, and I learned to trust her because there was times where she would show us like she'd be like, Liana, listen to the song, and I'm listening, and I'm like, and I'm like, no, and she's like, wait till I edit it, and then she edits it, and then she shows me, and then I'm like, that's a song,
Yeah.
like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I already learned to trust her, so yeah, it's pretty.
So shout out again to Mama Beltran. She's out there killing it. Oh my goodness. So, what advice would you give to dancers wanting to take their craft to the next level, right? Because you watch dancers like MG Elites or Yamule or Sase Control or all these other groups that you have out here, and you see people doing things at a high level. And I think that we as the audience or as the fans, we don't really take into consideration the work that is required to get to that level and stay at that level, right? So what advice would you give to people that are looking to really push their dancing, push their brand, push themselves, to that level?
There's a lot. I would
Oh, that's you.
I would definitely say patience is a huge thing. Patience, having an open mind. Our thing we like to say in the team is having an open mind and an open heart. So patience, open-mindedness, and trust, I guess. I feel like I think it was Osmar that actually told us once that a career, like for a doctor, it takes like how many years? Like 10 years to perfect the craft so that you can be great at it. So like with dance, it's the same thing. You can't just like, oh, overnight you're amazing and your legs all the way up here. Like it takes like it's a whole process to really get to where it is that you want to get to. And especially nowadays with society and everyone being insta famous instantly the next day. And I don't know what, like, I don't know if they expect to get it easy or to like hustle to get there, but it's like no, like as dancers we really have to train and put in the effort, and our bodies are going to sweat, we're going to cry, or we're going to get frustrated, and it's a whole journey that you get to even get close to where it is you want to be. Like I'm still not even close to where I want to be, and so like also never getting comfortable. You can't get comfortable because then you lose it, you know. I think being again training and stuff that you're not comfortable with is great because it's humbling as well, and staying humble is also good. I feel like a humble dancer is going to grow further than a person. You could be the best dancer and conceited, and I don't think you would get as far as the humble dancer. So so it's different things I would say, but definitely patience is a huge one because now everyone wants it like that. But if you have to trust, each journey is so different. You have to trust that. You have to trust that your body is different than, like, you and I are never going to dance the same. You know, like nobody's going to dance like you. Nobody's going to dance like me. Like, so it's like, how do we find my own personal way of growing and trusting that and being like, okay, like I was never really flexible when I was little, and I had to work for that. Versus like my best friend who would just kick and her leg was all the way up here, and I was like, ugh, like so it's so different. Like that's another thing, we can't compare ourselves because now like through the media you're watching videos and you're like, oh, I want to look like that, or like why don't I look like that, or why isn't my leg that high, or like why doesn't my body move like that. But it's like no, like don't compare and just trust yourself, keep working, be uncomfortable, stay humble, and be patient, and don't lose the love for it more than anything, because once you lose that love, and it's like, why are you doing it, you know? People, yeah, that's it. There's like so much, but that's
No, that's perfect answer. That's a great answer. And I think that again, that's a lot of stuff that's packed into that I think a lot of us take for granted, especially the patience part. When you think about social media and you see people posting up all the time, and they're posting these fantastic videos of these little dance challenges, or just again like you just doing something off the top of the head, and it's like, oh my god, I need to get to this level. Why am I not there yet, right? And you see this, and then once you see it, just the patience goes out of the window, and it almost becomes kind of debilitating, right?
yeah.
So definitely having that patience, and concentrating on keeping that patience is so important. So yeah, it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because I think a lot of us need to bring that back, especially in the social media age, where patience is literally the antithesis of what social media is all about. It's like once you really start to ingrain that patience within yourself, that's when you're going to start seeing a lot more progress than you would have.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Yeah, I agree. It is great.
I asked you about your. Okay. So here's a good one. So we asked you about your personal favorite routine. What is one or some of your favorite routines from other artists?
Hmm. Like, let me think. Okay, at the top of my head, Yamule, the white routine. That's like all time favorite. Um,
I love that routine.
yeah, that's. Let's see who else. Caitlin. Trying to think of like my inspos. Kate has a routine. It's new that she didn't. I don't think she performed as much, but it's like a gray routine and it's very elegant. I really enjoyed that one. It was
Is
Fausto and
this
Kate.
with Fausto or?
Yeah, Fausto and Kate.
Cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I never saw it in person, but I only saw videos. But just the way she looked and everything, I love that. It's just different. I love seeing women elegant and beautiful like that, and she always is, but everything is extra, so I love it. I love Kimberly. Her team is called Diosas, and they have a flamenco routine, and they're wearing like white and blue, and they're doing like all this with salsa, and it's like, ugh, it's everything. I love that one too. I'm trying to think. There's just so many. There's a team from Chicago called Gifted Souls. That was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
all of
are
their
peak, man. Oh my God.
routines are just spot on. Yeah, any of their routines I love. I'm trying to think of what else. There's just so many, but at the top of my head, those are the ones I could think of. And there's probably a lot more. Yeah, I can't think of anymore. But yeah.
That's definitely a good list. So definitely. Um, so you kind of answered this, but I'm gonna try and maybe pull a little bit more out of you, right? So when it comes to a lot of the routines that you've done and that you're doing currently, again, I was congratulating you on the fact that you're able to pull so much emotion out and invoke that emotion in a way that really creates a connection with the audience. And I know that a lot of those routines that you really connect with are because they have that familial aspect to them. It was dedicated to a member of the family. Um, what would you recommend for people that really want to invoke those same types of emotions in their routines, when they're on stage? Like, what advice would you give somebody that wants to try and take their stage presence to the next level in a way that connects deeper?
Well, that's a good one. I feel like a routine usually has a story. Some do, some don't, and that's okay. But I feel like if you can connect with the song and the music and try to make your or like connect to it in some way where you can tell your own story. Like if it's let's say Billie Eilish depressing song or something like that, right? um, I might relate it to like my grandpa passing away or something, and then somebody else might relate it to a heartbreak. And regardless of what we relate it to, if we can find the connection with the music, I feel like we can then tell the story, and really kind of just tapping into those emotions. I feel like we're scared to do that. I know we have one of our teachers. His name is Matthew Rivera, and like he
NYC.
from New York. Do you know Matt?
Oh,
Yeah, so Matt, he's my twin, and I hate him. I hate him. I hate him because every time he would come teach contemporary, and every damn contemporary he would make me cry. And I'm not one to like cry like as much, but in general for dancing, I don't cry in classes. And every damn class that he would give us, I would cry, and it was because like he would just he would get that out of me and like make me tell that story. But then I realized like I'm so afraid to do that a lot of times, and all I feel like many of us we're afraid to like because we don't want to relive those moments that we've gone through in our whole life. But if we were to learn how to apply the happiest day of my life to the happiest number or routine that I have, the saddest one, like if we can tap into those emotions and use them in our dancing, then we can transmit a lot more, and that's when the people can feel it and relate to it as well. Because I feel like we are actors as well, and our goal is to like if I'm sad, I want you to know that I know how sadness feels like, so I can connect with you, and we're both in this together, and I know where you stand. I know, like, you get me, like you just kind of find
yeah.
that the audience and the dancers, so it's just we're all united in a sense. But yeah, I think that helps, just tapping into those emotions and letting yourself be vulnerable, which is really hard, and I'm still working on to this day. But it helps. Yeah.
Yes, definitely something I need to work on. Yeah, I definitely will. Definitely agree, and I think like part of my personal problem, as far as um, invoking emotions on stage, is that when you get into kind of a habit of doing the same thing over and over and over, um, I really do feel as though that you kind of lose the ability to really delve deep into why you're doing what you're doing, right? What exactly is influencing what your body is doing at that specific moment. And a lot of that can be attributed to your own personal experiences, like you said. So, um, me, I kind of like try, kind of put those experiences to the back end. I think a lot of us do that, but I do think that maybe, not even maybe, I do feel as though that I need to start pulling those emotions back out. And I think like a lot of us can.
Good. Yeah, I feel like that's why, well, for me personally, that's why I love dance so much. It has been that outlet when I'm sad and I have no idea, like I have no words to explain how I'm feeling. Sometimes just going in there and just moving and just letting that emotion kind of take control of your body, even if it is like a bachata or something, like just kind of just feeling that and the joy of that dance kind of uses to heal us as well. I feel like it's a blessing, and if more of us learned how to like, all right, dance, just let help me take control. Like we kind of stop overthinking as well, because I have that problem. But it helps us to not overthink it, enjoy dance, but also like it makes us stronger too. Just feeling that pain, but healing, and it's a whole thing. Not worrying about what people think. So it's dance is just that's why dance is like my best friend. Like it's the best.
Can't ask for a better friend than that, um, so yeah, so in your mind, because I think that not only yourself but MG Leach, you guys have been able to really create a well-known brand for yourselves, right? What would you say has helped you guys the most with your success, both personally for yourself as well as for the company? Like what really helped you guys create that success for yourselves?
I honestly, I think it was just kind of staying true to who we are and what we believe in as people, as dancers. Again, like my mom always, we have a strong faith in God, so that kept us like humble. It kept us strong. It kept us faithful and hopeful and trusting in whatever God had planned for the team, for our lives. So we trusted the process, and we were never in a rush, or we never like wanted attention or fame or any of that. We just kind of did what we did because we loved it. And if people liked us, cool. And if you didn't, cool. Like we're gonna keep doing what we do because we love it. So I feel like that it kind of it kind of just allowed us to just do what we do. And some people liked it, and they allowed us to go to their events and stuff like that, and just we love with people. So that was really awesome. I think just the hard work in general that we've done. Yeah, my grandpa just told us, like, if you're gonna do something, then work to try to be the best. We know there's always going to be somebody better than you. That's just the truth. There's always somebody better. But if you just work to be better than who you were the day before, the week before, the month before, the year before, 5 years before, like you're always aiming to be better than yourself. So as a team, we're like, okay, last year we were here. How are we going to get better? Like, so we're focused on ourselves here, kind of not letting the world conform us in any way, and just staying true to who we are, what we believe in, and trusting God that wherever we go, it's because of His will. So I think that's been a huge part of it as well. And yeah, just staying true to that, especially with the media. And it's so easy to be like changed and again conformed, but we're evolving, but not changing who we are and what we believe in. So I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've probably seen this. We have some dancers out there that are heavily influenced from another dance company or another dancer or something like that, and instead of taking what they admire about these other dancers and creating their own from that, they just try to become
like the dance.
almost a miniature version of them, right? And it's like that's not going to fully fulfill you, not only as a dancer but also as a person as well. You want to be your own person. You want to be your own dancer, right? So yeah, definitely staying true to yourself is so important. Not only just as a dancer but also as a person as well. You can't be somebody else. You can only be yourself. So why not try and make yourself out to be the best version of you that you can be?
Yeah, that's why my mom always, since we were little, she would always tell us like, how you handle dance is how you handle life. So she's like, I can see the way, like who you are as a person based on the rehearsals. And for example, if we're in class and we're doing the step over and over, and they're like, Liliana, you're doing it wrong. So I'm like, okay, over and over. Liliana, you're doing it wrong. Like, fix this, da da da. And like before, this is way before. I used to get super frustrated, and I would just completely shut down, and like I would get an attitude, and my mood would change. Like I was just not in it anymore, you know. So then she's like that shows me how you're gonna handle life. Like life is so hard, and you get thrown these obstacles. Or what if you get an audition and they tell you no? Like you're gonna just give up, or you're gonna keep going and pushing until, do you get me? Like so it's crazy how dance does relate so much to life in so many aspects. Yeah.
Absolutely. It really is like kind of a microcosm of everything going on around us. And it is kind of crazy how that works out. But the good thing about that is knowing that you can use those experiences in dance to help you navigate everything else.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that's definitely something that we could definitely keep in mind and use to our advantage, right? There's so much that we experience as dancers that we can use to our advantage and that we don't. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why now when life hits me, Jesus, take the wheel, and I'm just gonna, like learn to everything I've experienced through dance and all the patience and all that. I also apply it to the difficulties of life today. So it's nice. It's a gift.
Cool. So again, we talk about the routines that you've done and NG leads and the things that you've done with your brother, and a lot of what you guys have done is to separate yourself from everybody else, right? And again, yeah, definitely being true to yourself is extremely important. But what are some of the other influences that help you guys remain different from everything else that's being fielded on the Congress circuit or on stage or anything like that? Like, where else are you guys pulling from aside from like the normal dance styles or the normal dances to help influence you guys to create something different?
I think going back to, I think not to be like spiritual so much, but I think God had a huge like he made us very different as well, just again staying true to that belief. Um, Besides that, I would say a bunch of the advice that we would get from the teachers as well, that continue to inspire us and believe in us, because some teachers would be like, why are you guys doing so many styles when you can just do one and be good at salsa, for example, and just be the best salsa dancers? And my mom was like, no, because I want them to be dancers and just great at everything that they do. And whatever gets thrown at them, they'll take it, they'll mold it to make it their own, and they'll do great in it. So those teachers that did believe in us and helped us to get there, and they saw my mom's vision, they saw potential in us as kids, and they continue to work on us and push us, and still continue to do so to this day. We have so many teachers, it's crazy, and it's a blessing to know them and to have them as mentors as well. But definitely they helped us to do that. So teachers and Jesus, of course, always making us different and unique in our own way.
Awesome. Cool. So, very last question, because I know you probably got a whole bunch of schoolwork and stuff to work on and everything. Um, Going back to the tango routine, I remember seeing that routine and watching guys perform it, and honestly, like I was just like kind of flabbergasted that that you guys had so much talent, especially at such a young age, right? And I at the time I was starting to go back into the concert circuit, and I was trying to get back out to the East Coast, West Coast, because most of where I traveled and performed and competed and all that stuff was on the East Coast, and pretty much had never been to the West Coast. Still to this day, I've never been to California or pretty much west of Dallas. So, but I wanted to try and get out there because once I saw the routine, I was like, all right, I got to get out to conferences. I got to meet people that are from the West Coast, from the Midwest, Chicago and that sort of stuff. But I have to meet Lyliana and David. I have to meet them, right? Unfortunately, because David passed away, I wasn't able, to meet him. And I really, really, really wanted to meet him because the whole thing is I watched this routine and he just seemed like such an amazing human being to know, right? What would you say, like, tell me about David, if you can, because again, like I said, he just seemed like an amazing person. I followed him on Facebook, and he was always just this nice guy. Everybody loved him. So people that are going to be watching this video, unfortunately, because he did pass away, a lot of us will never be able to have our lives blessed by David. So if you can, like, let the people watching this know right now, like, what would you want them to know about your brother?
Ooh, there's so much. Like, it's just hard because David was it's so hard to explain him because he was so like unique. And when I mean unique, like the definition of unique, like he was a huge teddy bear, that's for sure one thing, like super, super loving and kind and what he wanted to be. He was hilarious. That's another thing, like super,
That definitely defeat that.
the funniest diva you would ever meet in your life, like he was so true to who he was, and he didn't it's crazy because like the way he was, he didn't like care what people thought about him, but on the inside he was very sentimental, and he not so much like he wanted people to know like that he was a good person, if that makes sense. So even though he's like, I don't care what you think, but he's like, but it's also like, know that I am a good person. I don't know if that makes sense, but and which he was like, he was just so unique. He was a diva. He was hilarious. He would call people out on their bluff, and he did not care. He would get us in trouble so often. He was super shady, but I loved it. Yeah, just funny, but also very supportive of the people that he loved, and he made you believe in yourself. He made you like push yourself and want to be better, and he really saw like potential. Yeah, and he understood people, and he listened, and he constantly checked up on a bunch of people that like we had no idea that he would talk to them so often, but he cared about people, and he genuinely he like really loved people, and all he ever wanted was that love in return. So luckily we got to give that to him in his last days and weeks and stuff. Dance, he loved to dance so much. That was his everything. That was his getaway. He was bullied a lot as a kid and as a teen, and so and as a dancer, even a lot of people made some comments and just different stuff. So dance was his like escape, and just staying true to who he was. It helped him to just live life like like just the best way possible, and he loved his family, he loved us, he was just the best. It's so hard just to describe his character because it's like one moment he'd be like he'd be making fun of you, and then the next moment he'd be like, but I love you so, so much, and you're like, okay, David, like there was no way to describe him. We were just like, oh, it's just David, like he would get away with anything and everything, like but his soul was just unique, like, and there's nobody in the earth that can ever compare to that soul. But he was the best. My brother, yeah, it was awesome.
And that's I don't think anybody could ask for something sweeter to say about somebody that was obviously an incredible human being. Again, I wish that I had a chance to meet him, but it makes me happy to know that he had so many people that had so much love for him, and when he did pass, just seeing this outpouring of love and support from everybody, like literally, like I can't tell you how much that I saw online, just from everybody in New York, Chicago, Philly, DC. Like,
Ironic though, in a sense, because a lot of those people, when he was still here, like it's kind of mixed emotions, because a lot of those people like didn't show him that support when he was still here, so it's kind of like, so when now that like seeing all that explosion of social media, we were kind of like, wait, like what's happening, because we're like, we haven't talked or seen you in like 5 years or so it's kind of crazy how it's kind of unfortunate in a sense that these people couldn't, like, we wish they could have showed him that love when he was still here, and obviously there are those people that really did do that, and they did care for him, and our loved ones and our close ones, and those fans, of course, that really did care about him and always like saw him, and like you said, like wanted to meet him and all these things. Like, you could tell when it's genuine, but it's also like, it was disappointing seeing a lot of these other people that didn't show him that love, and then all of a sudden they were showing it to him. So that's why my family and I, we got a little sad about that, but it's definitely a lesson to just show that love all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
And at the end of the day, again, like he obviously has touched, so many people.
Yeah.
I think you really can't ask for something better to keep as a memory of him.
Yeah.
But yeah. Before we go, is there anything else that you want to tell the audience? Is there any, you know, updates as far as MG leads that you want the people to know about? And like, now's the time to do it. So.
Let's see here. I'm like, no, just that we're, by the grace of God, we're still going, and we're gonna keep coming stronger, even now more than ever. We have a little fire torch lit under our booties, so we're gonna keep pushing, and more than anything for my brother, something that we know he would have wanted us to do. It's obviously unfortunate and stuff, but we just hear him here like, come on, like, let's go get over it.
Yeah.
Like, why are you crying? Like, I'm gonna see you again. Get over it and keep pushing hard and work for me. And so we have that fire definitely lit under us, and God willing, when the time is right and everything like settles itself, like we'll keep getting back into our normal stuff. And other than that, yeah, we're just grateful to God and to our friends and our family and supporters that still show us that love and support, even all the time, not just when something happens or anything like that. So we're grateful, and yeah, God is good. Even when life is tough, he's still good. Yeah.
All the time.
Yes.
Ms. Lyliana, thank you again for taking the time out of your extremely hectic schedule to come on the show and show love and give us these little tidbits of advice that I think all of us can definitely use. I know I will. Hopefully, in the close future, Converses will start making its way back to the mainstream, and save me a dance of it if it comes down to that. All right. Again, everybody watching, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to definitely be having more stuff for content creators, for Latin dancers, for business owners. And until then, you guys have a great night and stay blessed. And make sure you go out there and put a dent in the universe. Thanks, guys. See you later.